All right, all right. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again. Bringing it back. I'm super excited. I always say I'm super excited, right? I'm super excited. No, but it's been a while since we've been able to do a critical thinking series. For those that are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Before Educate and Dominate, it was the Critical Thinking with Childish series. That was the kind of my how-to series, my educational series that provided insight on my theories and thoughts beyond this game. But of course, I am one person, and I went out of my way to try to get everybody's input, and that's how the Educate and Dominate came about. So going back in the mix, talking about some stuff here, and again, it's kind of funny that we're talking about going back. Okay, we're going to coin this one back to the basics, back to the basics. So if you guys are familiar, you guys know that for the people that are in the mid to late stages in the game, there's been a lot of focus on the Dragons B10. There's been a lot of focus on getting those violent revenge runes and whatnot. And I wanted to kind of go back to the basics when it comes to talking about particular rune sets or whatnot, especially for PvP and PvE situations. I find it more often than not that when we all get in tune with our YouTubers and streamers and we see what they got, yeah, I know this is bad. No, there's no speed, guys. There's no speed. There's no speed at all. So, we get in a stage where we're trying to emulate the people that we watch day in and day out, and we sometimes forget that the reason why they're able to do what we do is because they spend time day in and day out farming runes 24/7. I was just giving Foros and I a hard time the other day because he continuously he works from home, right? He farms 24/7, and he literally has 47 million mana as of this video, which is pretty crazy. But that's the name of the game: farming until you get the runes that you need. The grind is real. But for the people that are haven't gotten to that level, we have to rely on the runes that we got. And let's kind of go back to the basics when it comes to talking about our damage-based dealers. Okay, so when we're playing around in that PvP setting and trying to get the most bang for a buck, we understand that the meta revolves around critical damage. Okay, and regardless if the unit is a speed-based unit or an attack-based unit or even a bruiser-based unit, crit damage. If you're trying to incorporate crit damage in the mix, it is by far one of the best damage modifiers out there with regards to getting some big numbers. Okay, we all understand that, but what we don't come to realize is that the crit damage is nothing without the crit rate. Okay, I see time and time and again. I've had a couple people, crest to join the Epic Fail community, Omega or Alpha. Or I've seen a couple people talk to me about, hey, my Giants B10 or my Dragons B10 or my Arena is slacking. I can't figure out a composition. I can't figure out a composition to work. Okay, take a look at my units and see what the issue is. And I tell them flat out, I saw stupid quick, right? They're trying to come in there with Doublelutions that are sitting at 36% crit rate and trying to get it done. But like, dude, you don't get it. Like, it's cool. I got Seek. I'm like, yes, that is correct. You got Seek, and it is a buff, and it should be where it at. Should be where you want to be. But that being said, regardless if you get yourself, that 30% buff, right? Again, you're still sitting at 66% crit rate. While it is strong, it's still not reliable. So my thought process today is that let's go back to the basics and save those runes that we get. Okay, when we come into Giants B10, our big focus now has been definitely the Despair and the Swift runes, especially for the people out there that understand the meta and know that speed is king. It's been like that for quite some time, but ever more so now. We're so focused on getting our Swift runes and our Despair runes, as you can see right now. That's what I'm farming for, Swift runes to improve my Bernard. But one of the things that we forget all the time is the Blade runes. Okay, the Blade runes. Like, Blade, what? Blade runes, right? Who needs those? Everybody does, okay? Regardless of what primary set you are looking to rock, any other subset that you're looking to get, right? If you are a damage based unit and you're trying to take max advantage of the critical damage rune on 4, you have to have a certain amount of critical rate, okay? And we've had a lot of people out there in various forums, say, hey, this is how much you should have, or whatever, for it to be, worth to go. I've heard everything. I've heard from like, if it's above 50%, I've heard people say it's 60 to 65%. It's above 70%. Okay. My thought process at the initially, when I was first coming into the game, I was like, oh, okay, well, I think 60% is reasonable. Okay. And then I took it back a mix to the episode 3 of Educate and Dominate with Scat Fetus. Okay, Scat Fetus in the house, all right? Yeah, buddy. Shout out to the Scat Fetus one time. He loved when he get a shout out. Okay. And so one of the things that he mentioned, I think we were talking about this, Camilla, and one of the things we were mentioning is we were talking about critical rate and the fact that it's so important in the meta and people oversee it. They just rely on certain units to provide buffs, when in all reality, the goal should always still be to make your unit independent. Okay, get in the crit rate where you want. Okay, we say 60%, 70%, whatever, but honestly, the ultimate goal is to be able to eventually get 100% crit rate. Without him needing buffs and this and that, whatever. When you're farming these runes, guys, don't be so quick to throw away the blade runes, especially if they have the subsets. I mean, any rune in general, if they have the subsets you want, filler or not, the blade runes should still be the ones you save. And so, the reason why I say that is because I have a couple of units that I utilize in various YOLO teams that wouldn't even come close to be able to using it if I didn't have the runes that I have. So, like for example, right now, obviously we're using this as my YOLO team right here. You guys remember for quite some time we used Veramos, but believe it or not, Veramos was it got the job done, but all it did was provide me the opportunity to remove defense break. So I said, what can I do to turn it up a notch and get my put the Megan in? Okay, so why would Megan for me be a little bit more a little bit better than a Veramos? Why not take the conservative route, remove the defense break? Well, if the team is set up for YOLO, right, I should be doing everything and anything to get as much damage as I can possible in order to get the job done, right? So Megan providing the attack buff, we got Thea providing the crit rate. It's all good. It's all it's all gravy, right? But if I don't have the amount of crit rate on the side by my units on itself, the crit rate leader skill, all this added bonus is not going to do good unless I know that I'm doing the damage that I need to do 24/7. So we'll go ahead and do a quick showcase of the units here. You might have seen this already, but this was some of the changes that happened in the last unit showcase. So if you've already seen it, nothing's changed since then, but we'll go ahead and show it right here. I think it's this particular unit. Oh, no, this is the broken one. So one of my pride and joys now, rocking Despair Lucian. Attack crit damage attack with 73 crit rate. Of course, with the critical rate leader skill from Theo, just under 100%. So I'm making sure that every time I go into that final fight in Giants, I'm doing the damage that I need to do to get the job done, critting every single time, no questions asked, with that elemental advantage. Okay, and then we got ourselves Lucian here. Same thing. I want the 75% critical rate. I want the 150 plus critical damage. I got the speed substats that I'm looking for without sacrificing an attack rune on 2. And believe it or not, I'm doing it with vampire runes. Okay, and this is again going back to the basics. When we talk about when we talk about Dragons B10, okay, we talk about Dragons B10. First thing that comes to your mind: violent runes, revenge runes. Okay, we're all about that life, right? We're all about that life. But if you guys see right here. Even though the vampire, there's no real unit out there that just screams vampire runes, right? You don't see anyone starting a new trend or starting a new meta with vampire runes. But I would be silly to say that vampire runes is, regardless of the rune it is, if you're getting the runes, if you're landing the runes and they're coming with the substats you want, you got to save and you got to make it do what it do. Depending on what situation you are, it might get you the results you want. Initially, when I was making this YOLO team, I was using a devolution with the Bernard and Veramos or whatnot, but my dilutions were a little slow. It just so happened that my extra set of Despair blades as well as Vampire blades gave me the 45 to 50 speed that I wanted in an effort to get more turns over time. Okay, but again, it wouldn't be. I wouldn't have even thought about throwing a vampire set or this and that whatever because I'm so focused on my swift runes or my violent runes or my revenge runes that I don't realize that I need to go back to the basics sometimes and slap the runes on the units that are getting the stats that I want. Big shout out to Force Knight one time. Yeah, buddy. Okay. If you guys watch the Educate and Dominate, he has an absurd amount of shield, will, nemesis, revenge, focus all over the place. If you looked at his runes, you'd be like, oh my god, that's gross. But if you looked at his stats are better than anybody out there that are using Rage Blade, Violent Blade, whatever, okay? Not anybody, but a lot of people. Y'all know what I'm saying, okay? So that's what it's about. Going back to the basics, making sure that you don't exclude the runes that are not, quote unquote, the norm or the meta, and collecting those runes in an effort to take a look and figure it all out, okay? Now, let's say you got these runes and you're like, maybe I'm sitting here with, almost 300 runes, and I got about 200 runes in storage. Like, I can't go through all those runes, Childish. What can I do, okay? If you remember a shout out, God, so many shout outs today. I'm so sorry. But again, as you guys know, I'm all about promoting people out there. Shout out to GGEXE one time. Good game. Took the time out of his day to come on board and show us how to optimize your runes with the Rune Optimizer, okay? So take a look at my playlist. Check it out, okay? I believe that was the last critical thinking video, so that you can take the time to embed these runes in the system and allow you to figure out the stats that you want with the runes that you have available. So you take away some of the time-taking ability, okay? Obviously, it's going to take some time to get those runes or get those stats that you want, but obviously the website will kind of help you out of here. So Lucian's my probably one of my best examples when it comes to sticking to those blade runes to try to get the stats that I want, with the speed and crit rate and crit damage and whatnot. And then again, we got ourselves Sigmaris in here. I've been going back and forth about Sigmaris as far as being able to use him. I basically use him as a secret dungeon clearing monster. And so it is very, very important that I have myself an absurd amount of crit rate. He does come with the critical rate buff, right? But I wouldn't have the critical rate that I want if it wasn't for, taking the time out of my day to save some of these, runes that may not have the best stats overall. As you can see on this rune here, just a little bump in critical damage and critical rate. But that extra critical rate on a blade set is crucial because when you complete the blade set, you get yourself that extra 12%. And because even though if you think about it, Childish is 12%. 12% is 12%. If 12% gets you from 88 to 100%, boom. If the 12% gets you from what we as theory crafters say is the critical threshold between getting the damage that we want with the critical damage versus not, okay, that's even better, okay? You're not going to rock in there. If you have the opportunity to take a 48% critical rate unit to a 60% critical rate unit on a Theo with Violent Blade, okay, no questions asked. Because as we know, we've come to understand that 62, 61 critical rate on a Theo is where you need to be in order to get the job done. So again, guys, go back to the basics. Don't forget about them blade runes, and don't forget about those focus runes, okay? When we talk about the PvE side of things, my best unit to showcase, right, has to be my Basalt. My Basalt is my setup for Teal'Way Hard. The stats are not too good, right? Pretty decent, but they are... I'm using the focus set. And initially, it was just broken runes just to get the stats that I want. But in this particular scenario, it so happened that the focus runes that I got gave me the speed that I need and the accuracy that I want. An additional, as you can see here, 48% accuracy between the subset bonus and these two runes right here. It allowed me to get away from other runes over here that provide straight accuracy on 6 and add some defense or whatnot. still while keeping a good amount of speed and a good amount of accuracy. I'm looking at 77% accuracy, okay? Again, on the accuracy side of things, I'm a big fan of getting over that 50% hump, and I try to keep my units. My Bella is always try to keep as high as I can, but the best I could do is about 45. When it came to Basalt, I found for me the most reliable skill, that we're trying to use here between these 1 and the 3 slots. I found for me that getting above that 60% accuracy threshold was perfect for me. It seemed like it landed a lot, and again, on a violent set, it allowed me to get multiple turns and get the job done. But it seemed extremely reliable. That being said, I still like to go as high as possible. Okay, if I have a way of still manipulating my runes to get myself 100% accuracy, I'm gonna do it. Because anybody that's been watching these videos for quite some time, or anybody that's seen anybody do the TOA for quite some time, knows that there's nothing more aggravating than sitting there for 20 minutes grinding on a TOA H boss, only to miss a provoke or miss an attack bar decrease, and you get wiped out from a CR or from whoever the boss is. You guys know what it is, okay? So again, if you're still watching this video, thank you for your support. I appreciate it as always. Do me a favor, if you like this video, smash that like button. Let's share it with our friends. Let's get it out there. You know what I'm saying? All right. That is it. I am done. It's your boy Childish, ChildishPlays. Check it out. Take care. We'll see you next time, guys. I'm out.